Hi everyone, my name is Becca Stoddard, and I'm going to educate you, the listener, on how to be a more effective leader through emotional intelligence and therefore emotional leadership. Let me ask you a quick question first. You're on an airplane which suddenly has extremely bad turbulence and begins rocking back and forth, side to side. What do you do? Do you continue to read your book or magazine unaware of the turbulence? Do you become wary of an emergency and start watching the flight attendants and reading the emergency card word for word? Do you do a little bit of both? Or are you just not sure what you would do? This is an example of a question on an emotional intelligence test. You take a varied set of questions, and at the end, your score will tell you how emotional intelligent you are or aren't. Some employers believe that having employees take this test is only better for their business, and some leaders think that being emotionally intelligent and having a team that is emotionally intelligent is priority. Forbes.com tells us that leaders must be more emotionally intelligent and be more effective and efficient at maximizing outcomes and results. I'm going to take the next few minutes to explain to you exactly what EI is, why it's growing in popularity, and finally, the 5 ways to lead with EI. Before we get to how to lead with EI, you first need to understand what emotional intelligence, or EI, is and how it's scored. Emotional intelligence is defined as the capacity to reason about emotions and to use those emotions to enhance thinking. EI gained popularity in 1995 thanks to a book written by psychologist and journalist Daniel Goleman. The book was titled Emotional Intelligence. His book was criticized by the science community, even though there were many reports on how useful it was. Studies have shown that people with a higher EI have a greater job performance and leadership skills. Since EI has gained in popularity, the concept has since morphed into 3 separate models. The first model is called the ability model. That says that someone with EI has 4 distinct abilities. These abilities include perceiving emotions, using emotions, understanding emotions, and then managing them. The current test that determines this kind of EI is called the MSCEIT, which is a series of 14 emotion-based problem-solving questions. The next model is called the mixed model. This model is attributed to Goleman and is a model that consists of skills and competencies that drive leadership. These skills are motivation, empathy, self-awareness, self-regulation, and social skills. The ECI test outlines a more behavioral approach to EI, and then there's the Emotional Intelligence Appraisal. That is a 360 assessment. Lastly, there's the trait model. It would make more sense to call this the mixed model because it takes into account characteristics from both the mixed and the ability model. There are many tests for this, but the main one is a self-reported test called EQI 2.0. There are multiple other online tests that people can take to gauge where they stand on the EI scale. Some tests are a quick 5-minute online test that spits out a number that is supposed to tell you if you're good at EI or not. But then there are the more professional tests that can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to complete. These results are more thought out and more useful to a leader, and they're like the ones that I mentioned earlier. Now that you know what EI is and how it's determined, let's talk about how companies are training their future leaders. It is said that leaders are made, not born. But with EI, the thought is that leaders are both born and made. And companies need to make EI a priority and to look at reference materials on how to incorporate emotional intelligence into their leadership training. In an article written by Dr. Sadiri, a professor at California State University in the College of Business and Economics, said that in order to incorporate this into a business's training model, they first must determine what leadership development practices and strategies might work best in developing their employees' EI competencies. Goleman suggests that self-awareness, self-regulation, and skill building are the top 3 characteristics that are important to grow in an individual. Sadri also states that having an employee or new leader with motivation is also an essential tool, and one that can't be developed. This is one that the leader has to be born with. All of what I just mentioned is basically help the leader grow in their personal and professional lives. By helping new leaders with the tools like a self-reporting test or a 360 will only help the business in the long run. Also, helping that person with a knowledge on what activities help personal development is important as well. Activities like executive coaching, developmental assignments, and simulations. Once employees have been trained on EI, they are ready to lead, or so they say. Forbes gives us 5 tips on how to lead with EI. The first one is we need to care about people. Leaders need to take care of both the head and the heart. Being less intense and more compassionate should help. It is important for employees to feel like they are people and not just cattle. It has been proven that employees want to know what is expected of them. And if leaders do this professionally, in addition to being shown compassion, as well as mentoring new employees, they will perform, and they will perform well. We need to embrace differences to make a big difference. Our world today is more diverse than ever before. People want to be their true, unique self, and today's leaders need to be more sensitive about how to manage that. We need to help employees experience significance. Leaders don't need to train people to be more like them just because they're a leader. Instead, they need to motivate people on how the job can benefit them personally and professionally. Let them create impact. Be accountable like everyone else. Being a leader doesn't mean that you're in the free and clear because everyone is doing the work for you. In reality, you are accountable for your actions as well as the employees' actions. Leaders need to hold themselves to a higher standards, and they need to make themselves responsible just like they hold their team responsible, if not more. And lastly, we need to be mindful of our employees' needs. If an employee is not working to their ability, then it's on that manager and leader to figure out what we can do to enhance that. We need to get feedback from team members. Once we get feedback, we can increase that leader's knowledge of the team member's ability as well as what makes them tick. And giving feedback to a leader is just as important. To get the most from a team, a leader must be mindful of the employee's needs as well as the company's. A great leader knows how to make all of that work well together. In conclusion, being a leader is hard, but being a leader who has to help their employees know the book of their business like the back of their hand and be accountable for everyone else is even harder than it was before. But having EI can help everyone achieve a level of leadership that is exemplary. In the end, if leaders are more emotionally intelligent, they'll be more effective and efficient at maximizing outcomes and results. Thank you.